So what's up, man?
What's up, dude? Thanks for being on, bro.
Hell yeah, my name's Storm or Poet. They're both
Awesome.
weird names, so whichever one's more comfortable for you, feel free to use either.
Absolutely. I'm Eric.
Pleasure to meet you, man.
Yeah, you too, bro. Eric with a K, not a C. Okay. In case you ever
There's a
write it
difference.
down. I
There's a
know, right?
difference.
Yeah, it sounds different when you say it. It's Eric. Okay. uh, I
Heck yeah,
know.
man. Hey, just before we even start anything, I just want to say, man, I really appreciate what you're doing here. I mean, all my friends around us like, oh, dude, I'm gonna be on next Friday, or I was just on a couple weeks ago. Everyone's really excited for what you're doing. I read a little bit about, your story and why you weren't even able to airsoft over the past couple years, just in general, and why you like how you even never played. And I just really admire that, and I appreciate all you do, man. So thank you.
Oh, dude. Don't get me choked up already, okay? No, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. It means a lot.
No, thank
Yeah.
you, man.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I really enjoy doing what I'm doing. Honestly, I love meeting new people, and I love getting you guys your story out there. It's y'all are the my heroes. Okay, like y'all are out there kicking this thing like every weekend, getting all the gear, just helping new players. Like y'all are the real heroes out there. I just would love, I like being a part of it and getting your story out there to whoever 5 people are going to watch it. So
Hey, but that's five people that it might change, and that's a big part of why I do it. If I could change one person, that's huge.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely,
So,
man. Yeah,
like,
so bro, I've seen I followed your Instagram quite a while ago actually.
oh, really?
Yeah, and they're gonna hate me for not knowing this. I can't remember who first told me about you, but it was months and months ago. Somebody mentioned your name that I was talking with, and because they said, in fact, it was I don't remember who it was, but it was a while ago, and I said, Storm the Poet. What is that? Because I had heard of Storm.
Airsoft,
Uh,
yes.
yes, right.
Yeah, he's
So
doing his
it's
thing. Great guy, from what I hear. Also a great guy.
right, exactly. So and then so I followed you right away. Well, then a couple months later, somebody said Storm again, but they were talking about Storm Airsoft, and I go, "Oh, you mean Storm the Poet?" Because I had been following you, and they're like, "No, who's that?" And I think they started following you because I told them about you. So because I
Appreciate that,
was,
man. Heck yeah.
I know. I was like, "Oh, you got to follow this dude, man. He's cool as hell." It is cool to see, though. Like the online presence where you guys, on Instagram or whatever, YouTube, are putting content out there where we can kind of get a glimpse of how you are as a person, and who you are, and what you're doing on the field, and what you're doing for your friends, and really what becomes kind of like family, right? Your airsoft family over time, and we get I'm on the East Coast, right? I'm in South Carolina. You're in California, so
Yeah.
I get to see. Like I feel like I know you a little bit already because I've watched your Instagram so much. You know what I mean? And your
Well,
videos.
that means a lot. And especially if you saw the poem that I dropped, a big reason why I dropped that, and you can hear me stuttering and shaking, and I just did
Yes.
one take, is because I want my guys to see that you can be vulnerable. You can be a grown man.
You're
You
not
can look weird
perfect.
if you want. I got pink hair and tattoos. I look different. I sound different. I'm a bit more eccentric. I'm a different character, but you can do that and, still do what we love to do. A lot of guys have this ego driven. And at the end of the day, when we're in that firefight, bro, these aren't real guns that we're shooting. You know, my
Yeah.
grandpa, back when he owned this shop a long time ago, he supported, the veterans and the real troops and stuff like that. California got to a point where we couldn't sell real guns anymore. It just wasn't economical and it just didn't feel right. We weren't
Yeah.
happy doing it. So we started doing airsoft because we love it. I've done it my whole life. My dad's done it for a very long time. He played professional paintball. So we just love this shit. You know what I mean? I
What?
bleed this shit. Last weekend we did I went down to San Diego and we did the Act of Valor charity for kids, whose parents passed away in combat and stuff like that.
Right.
The day after, I went to N1 and I handed a bunch of my merch that just dropped, in the form of Christmas presents with my buddy Mad Gorilla, to give kids a Christmas and stuff. I bleed this
Yeah.
shit. I lose a lot of money doing this, but I fucking love it. I love seeing the kids' faces. It's like seeing a kid eat bacon for the first time. Seeing a kid, get his first kill.
Eat
And
bacon.
you can't take that away. The world could be as shitty as it wants to be, but you can't take away that moment. You know what I mean? And
That
that's what
is
I love
it.
it.
That's it, man. That's true. God, bro, I didn't know any of this about you. I didn't know the store, like your grandfather, and then I didn't know your dad played. I don't know any history about you except what I've seen on your, the videos I've seen on your Instagram, and what you post and stuff like that, and the people you hang with, because I follow a lot of them as well. So, yeah, were you born and raised in Cali?
Yeah, so I was supposed to be born in LA. It was real sketchy. I ended up being born in Utah and moved down to San Diego. But the whole story with the shop, the real interesting story, okay, is my grandfather used to sell surplus stuff out of his garage with my grandmother. She was diagnosed with brain cancer. This is in the late '90s, I believe, and she ended up passing. And then he opened up his storefront. He ended up becoming like the biggest surplus retailer in the West Coast. Like, don't quote me on that, but from what I know, like he was that guy. Like everybody in the desert knows my grandpa. And then
Holy
when he
shit!
passed away, I think it was around 2016, and my dad and I took over. Well, my pops took over really. We sold real guns for a while, but it just got really sketchy. You know, the DOJ. We weren't really making any money
Right.
doing it, and being in the desert, the people who would come in, I can't have a gun. You know what I mean? I was too young at the time, just in general, and it
Oh,
just didn't feel safe, and it just wasn't fun again. But we loved
right,
airsoft. We're like, dude, we can
right.
do this, and it's not like an economical move. Like we have other ways to make money, but we can grow this community. Like I have a quote that I'm gonna put on some merch soon. Like turn the ghetto into a gold mine. Like this place up here is poverty stricken. All my fields have to be free, and I'm not trying to make money off my guys, but they can't even afford to go to an SC Village down in Corona and pay $36. So when I'm not running a
Huh.
field, like right now, I'm building a field. I have 50 guys on standby. Not that I'm above anybody. I don't feel that I'm ever going to be above anybody. We're all on the same level, but I have guys
Right.
who depend on me to have this field. And if I'm not running airsoft games, then this entire desert for a lot of my guys, it kind of just stays stagnant and it's hard for me.
Mm, that's wild, bro. So
Yeah,
what
like
part of the what area are you guys in? Where's your store at?
Apple Valley. So, and that was the toughest thing is about 2.5 months ago, my field Poets Playground closed. That was open for about a quarter of a year. And that was basically, I kind of made it like a Build-A-Bear workshop. Guys would come out there, hey, bro, I want more cover here, which is people, what people say everywhere. I'm like, okay, well, here's some nails, here's a hammer, here's some pallets, go build some fucking cover. And you know what?
Yeah.
Here's some spray paint, go spray paint and put your Instagram there. Like name it whatever cover you want. If you want to build this, let's build it together. It was a beautiful field and it was free. And somebody who wasn't directly benefiting from what I was doing made a phone call, and a ranger came out to arrest me. He's like, "Hey, dude, you're running a recreational facility on public property." And I was like, "Officer, I didn't even know that this was public property, first of all, but I'm actually not making any money off these kids. Actually,
Right.
after all the wood that I spent, I've lost about 3 grand, on this project." He's like, "No,
Yeah.
you're definitely charging these kids, and that's fucked up." I'm like, "Sir, let's go ask these kids." And I had 40 guys there. He talked to him, and they pulled me aside. He's like, "I had no idea." He's like, "I'm really sorry, but you got to close." I'm like, "But you don't realize if these kids don't play here, they're going to go to Georgia Air Force Base, which is the only place to play. It's like an abandoned Air Force base up here, and it's a felony to play there.
What?
And if you don't go to jail for being, for getting a felony, there's people who go out there and they bring real guns because they're scared because there's tweakers. It's an abandoned ghost town, basically. It's a cool place to airsoft when we mill sim, for paid events, which they have a couple times a year. But playing there in
Okay.
general, it's not legal. And I told the officer that I'm like, dude, please let me just do this. Like, this is for educational purposes. This is a safe place for my guys to escape for mental health and everything else. He's like,
Yeah.
dude, this is my mountain. Your wood's going to cause a fire in my mountain. I'm sorry, but this is how it has to go. And I'm like, I respect you doing your job. I understand. And we took all the shit down, and that was it.
Damn. I saw a post about that, man. About your you posted on Instagram, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was so sad.
I was grateful though. It was
Yeah.
beautiful taking it down. Because we built it up. It was kind of like that old show, like Destroy, Build, Destroy. You know what I mean? Because we're
But
just
you
gonna
can
do it
always
again, but
build
two times
again.
better. Yeah, it's gonna
You
be
can always
twice.
build again, and that's the point was, and the positive part out of that is that you got a good crew of guys, or core of people that believe in you now, right? And you believe in them, like, hey, we can do this again. It doesn't have to be here. We can go somewhere else, whatever. We'll find something. Like, as long as you have the belief, like, hey, this is what we're doing. You have the focus. Like, we believe in what we're doing. We're gonna do it. We're gonna make it happen. It just couldn't be over here. We'll figure out a way somewhere, and it'll come up.
Yeah,
Okay. So, man, that's wild though.
it's the way she goes, brother.
Yeah. So now, do you guys like where your store is now? Uh, have you guys looked at trying to buy some land out to get your own place?
So all I can say is I'm working on a project. In the next couple of weeks, you're going to see on my social media. Stay tuned, but there's something big in the works.
Gotcha.
It's already been
Okay.
in the process. That's why it's kind of been stagnant for a bit. But well, people have been thinking it's been stagnant, but chess moves have been made. Stuff's been being moved around, but I can't speak on it yet. So
I gotcha.
next couple of weeks, I'll be able to talk about it.
Dude, that's awesome though. Good,
Like
good.
yeah, and like I said, while I've been
Okay.
doing that, I'm like literally playing. Doing like 3 events a week. I mean, between me and Goon Squad, who's a really good team around here in LA, you should definitely talk to those guys. Really, really good guys, especially Seabass and Gio, the team captains. They go with me to all these big events, and we sleep in the car every weekend type stuff. We get like 1 hour of sleep.
Oh
We,
shit.
like I said, we bleed this shit. We just love it. Helping the community, spending so much money that we don't have, but it's not about that. It's just we're having so much fun in the process, and all we talk about is, you know, the lifespan of an airsofter is about 4 months. That's kind of the reality of the situation. So you have to make the memories that you can with the guys while you have them.
Huh. That's wild. Yeah,
So
I guess I'm really biased. My viewpoint is really narrow as far as those just I guess those kind of numbers or statistics with
yeah,
airsofters coming and going, because everyone I'm inviting on here is really really into airsoft. So you know what I mean? It's so I'm really my viewpoint is very skewed in that way. So I'm
yeah,
like, man, everyone I'm talking to is so, they love the sport, they love the hobby, they love the community. It is like that's their number one thing in life. That's what they do. So it's very yeah, it's weird to look at numbers and go, oh, the numbers say that it's not really like people don't hang around. You know.
it's hard. It's like losing your
Hmm.
first goldfish. You know how sad you were? That's me like every quarter of a year with all my friends because I actually own a speed soft team. So I have like 15 guys on my speed soft team, but a lot of people come and go all the time, and it's depressing because these are guys, 3, 4 months earlier that you might have had some crazy conversations with about this is what we're going to do over the next 10 years. Because
Right.
I'm not trying to be one dimensional. I'm not even trying to be just an airsofter. I want to play some paintball too. I want to do all types of things. I want to be a brand, and I want to grow and be able to get to a point, where like a Mr. Beast or somebody is, where I can really give back and I don't have to, bat an eye doing it. Because I don't care about
Yeah.
money. Money's printed on a machine, and I hate how a piece of paper kind of dictates and values our life. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's why I try to get people away from that, and that's why you lose a lot of airsoft because they're like, dude, I don't want to pay that $20 anymore. Like the memory is cool, but like I'd rather put that $20 on gas. And all I can
Right.
do is respect that because times are hard.
Sure.
It's tough.
Yeah, I get it. And that's I think, you're always going to have those kind of you're always going to have those kind of struggles, with different personality types, different upbringings, right? Different
Yeah,
teachings in in their homes and stuff. I think more and more people are getting are confused as to like what they believe in. Like, what do you stand? Like, if somebody asked 100 people right now, in the age 20 to 25, like, what do you stand for? Like, what do you believe in? Most of them would be very confused, first off, but I think a lot of them would be very materialistic. Like their belief system is based on money and material things, as opposed to character and goals and dreams. Right? People don't dream anymore, and so they it is very superficial. A lot of people are very superficial with that. Not that they're trying to be. I think they get caught up in that. Oh, how many views did I get? Oh, how many likes did I get on this post? And I'm going, bro. Well, yeah, but did you love what you did? Did you have fun with the person you were hanging out with? Like, who cares if you got a fucking selfie? Okay, like, just it's okay. It's okay. You know.
enjoy the moment. And there's so many nights where I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about recording this because then the entire game I'm worried
Right.
about was the angle right. You know what I mean? And I'm missing out
Right.
on actual good content because I'm worried about filming, or I'm not having a good time with the people that I set out. And I drove because now, I'm working on some stuff, so I have to go to El Monte, which is 2 hours away, 3 days a week now. It's a very long drive, so I have to really savor those moments because I am committed. But I am, I have to enjoy these moments because eventually I might have to take a couple weeks off.
No shit. Well, I think that's a common thing for content creators. I think we get, I do the same thing. I was just doing this with my wife and I, what is today? Tuesday. We went Sunday. afternoon, evening, we went out to dinner with one of my sons, who's actually on our YouTube channel, Coltrane. Him and his wife and their kids, and we went out to this local town here. It's a small town called Fountain Inn. They have a giant Christmas tree in the middle of the town. It's a real small town. Like
Super dope. Yeah.
yeah, dude. The street has been the main street has been closed down for a week, so everyone can walk through. So the businesses are still open. So
Yeah.
everyone, they're just like restaurants and really small shops and stuff. So they're all open. They've got street carts, where they're selling, hot chocolate and whatever kind of funnel cakes and shit like that. And throughout the evening. So and they've got like a bunch of light, Christmas lights. They got Santa sitting over here, whatever you can, take your kids to. They've got horse and carriage rides throughout the neighborhood. So they have cops out there every night, blocking the other streets that aren't shut down, so that the horse and carriage can go. So we took a horse and carriage ride with everybody. It's really pretty. It's really dope, man. Like really family oriented and
That's dope.
memories. So I'm sitting here like I had a podcast that night as well that I had to move back because we didn't get back in time.
Mhm.
So I texted the dude. I was like, "Hey, I'm not going to be back until I don't know 8:30 or whatever." So let's start then. Well, anyway, so this whole time I'm sitting here thinking about videoing and pictures for the family stuff to create memories. But and then my wife's going, "Oh, did you see?" And we're talking with the kids and stuff. And I'm missing all this shit because I'm trying to get the right angle and you
Yeah. Hold
know
on, honey. Hold on.
I'm trying to create content. And this is for family stuff. This isn't something I put on, YouTube or nothing like that. So
Yeah.
it's
Personal
not even
stuff.
for, it's just for me to pass on
Mhm.
to my kids and their kids so they have some kind of, instead of sitting down at a photo album and showing pictures, those are cool too.
Yeah.
Like the way I grew up, looking at that. But anyway, I get lost in the creating the content part and lose the moment, like the magic of the moment kind of thing, and like being present in the moment. It's a difficult thing to balance sometimes. Like, oh, I really want to film this because it's a really cool thing, but it would really take me away from spending time with this person.
It really is a gray area. Like I said, that's why I feel like I was born in the wrong generation. I would much
Mm,
rather, my favorite artist who passed away, he ended up actually killing himself. He would talk about in his interviews about like when was the last time that you went outside and watched a bee pulling pollen from a flower, like something so simple, like the simplicity in that. But
right.
kids nowadays, they don't even go outside. To play ball. I used to go to the park all the time, play football in the park. Like kids
Yeah.
aren't even really doing stuff like that in general. They're playing Madden on the iPad, or something like that. And I respect it. At least now they're getting paid for it. That's why most of us who were great at gaming, and that's all people talk about who are in my generation. Well, back in the day, I was this, this, and this. Well, we weren't getting paid for it then, so we kind of moved on. You know
Mm,
what I mean? But I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know.
And I know, right? And now they started a gaming channel and twitching. And I was just talking the podcast I just did with this guy. We were talking about similar things about Twitch channels and stuff like that. And I remember I was telling him, I was like, I remember when on the Xbox when Twitch, when they kind of like, I don't know if they partnered with them, whatever, but anyway, Twitch was available on your console where you could just click on it. It was like an app on the Xbox. So, and this is a handful of years ago,
Yeah.
and we were talking about people making money on their Twitch streams and shit like that. I said, bro, I'm sitting here scrolling through, and there's this like, all these different tiles of people gaming, and then all of a sudden there's like random stuff people are doing. So, like people talking, just talking to the camera, whatever. Like they're not gaming, and then this one was a girl was sleeping. A woman was sleeping, young woman, probably 20 years old, like literally sleeping on her bed. She had a t-shirt and shorts on, not like nothing, risque or nothing like that.
Nothing
Uh,
crazy. Yeah.
and she's getting tips. And the thing that the text that scrolls across is a for every so many amount of tips, whatever, I will sleep this much longer kind of thing. And I'm going, what?
What?
I didn't understand what the fuck was going on.
What does she do? Drink more NyQuil? She's like, oh, I got $30 more. You know
I think
what?
she's
Look.
fake. She's got to be faking, bro. I don't know. I don't know. Or maybe she really loves sleep. I mean, maybe I don't know. But uh, how would you know if you're sleeping how many tips you got to do? And I'm serious, bro. She's getting $25, $50, $100. Like, I said, what the? I said, Jen, my wife. I'm like, come here. Hey, go in here. I'm gonna film you. Okay, I got a GoPro. You go to sleep right now. I'm gonna film you and put it on Twitch. So
Oh,
crazy. But yeah, we getting paid for the content stuff is I think it kind of, I mean, obviously it's good for people uh that want to want to follow that, and they have an more options are good a lot of times with that kind of stuff. But sometimes it's hard to, they get maybe they get too sucked into, I've got to do this just for the views, kind of thing, and they lose the moment.
well, it's like it's kind of like for everything. And the biggest problem with Twitch and all that stuff is if you're going to do it, really do it. I just started my brand, Poet Airsoft. I've given away more stuff than I've sold. And
Yeah,
it's going to be like that probably for a bit where I'm reaching out, hey, dude, here's this. I'm not asking for a post, but deep down, I'm like, you know, please. And it's going to be like that for a while, but I'm going out to events 2, 3 times a week and I'm trying really hard to grow my brand to do that. A lot of kids now, it's like, oh, well, what do you do? Oh, well, I'm a Twitch streamer. But, they'll be on 4 hours a week and they have no job and they're doing nothing. But when family asks, when friends ask, when anybody asks, hey, do you need to chill? I'm a Twitch streamer, though. I know really good Twitch streamers who really try hard and they'll have 500 subscribers and they're getting paid a couple grand a month, doing really good stuff because people
yeah,
see that they're really doing it. And then there's other people where it's, they say this and I even looked at their channels because I like to post all my friends' stuff. And if you see my Instagram, it's 20 stories of me reposting all my friends' stuff. And I'll go and I'll check out
yeah.
their Twitch and it says, 2 followers, last active, October. And it's like, well,
Mm,
dude, you're not really doing much.
right. You got to work. And
You got to try, at least a little bit.
yeah, right. There has to be some consistency with, and that's pretty much across the board for anything in life. It's the general rule. Being consistent with something is probably the most valuable thing that most people don't have. And myself included.
I'm victim
If you
of it
want
too. Sometimes, yeah.
to, yeah, it's if you want to do, we always have. I think most people have these grand ideas about what they want to do.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be a career type of thing or whatever. Like just even little things like, oh yeah, I want to do this. I want to exercise 3 days a week, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's it's very hard to stick to that. You don't create this habit. And if you don't create this habit, then then it's work. It's a lot more work every time you need to do it because you haven't done it consistently enough to create a habit to where it's like you don't really think about it, you just do it. And
Yeah.
I think consistency is probably one of the biggest things where and dependability, right? Being able to depend on people is hey, like it's super rare to have those people that you could call up and be like, or post something and say, hey, you invite 50 people out to this thing, 25 respond, 10 show up. It used to be in the 50s, like what we were talking, when people were way more accountable to their word. So if I said, yes, I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there because they cared about their reputation. Like I cared about what I said. I
Yeah.
cared about that I told you I will do it. And even if I don't feel like doing it on that day and that time, I'm still going to do it because I have this internal thing that I was taught, this character that, hey, your word is your bond.
That's all
You
you
don't
have.
lose that.
Yeah.
Don't
That's
lose
all you
that.
have is your word. Yep.
And well, that's a lesson that needs retaught nowadays, I think, because a lot of people are really confused about that. They see, a lot of that there's a lot of things that happen that don't support that, that support the opposite actually. So I think people are really flippant, maybe with, like, oh yeah, yeah, sure, I'll be there, or yeah, I'll get back to you, and like it's real vague. So a lot of people don't want to commit to something, you know.
Yeah. No, it's true, man. It's wild, bro. I don't know.
Now you are committed to. You started your brand recently, and what what made you want to branch off on your own? You got your store right here. You were helping your now. Do you still help out at the store? You still help run the store?
Yeah. So I'm here 4 days a week,
Okay.
at least. So
And then
sometimes not.
what made you want to branch out? I mean, you could just stay in the store and like that's still helping the airsoft community, you know?
My biggest goal and the reason why I'm doing everything that I'm doing is because I know what airsoft is. I know what it
Hmm.
could be, and I'm not going to say what I was about to say about the negative that it could be, but or that it has been. But what I
Right.
will say, because talking negative and that's one thing. Side quest here is that speaking bad on anybody is not going to help you grow. So whoever might see this, please understand that. But I want to get airsoft on TV. I want to get to a point where I build a highlight tape like I'm going to a D1
Ah.
college coach. I want to go to Hulu and say this is what we're going to do. And I want to be able to have the I hate the word clout. I want to be able to have enough subscribers where I don't have one field, some one little secret thing in the work. I have a couple of fields up here where I could really grow this and not only help out the sport of airsoft, but the desert that I live in and the people around me in my community and show people, for a guy like me who's 3 years sober, okay, I used to do a lot of pills. two
Ah.
2 weeks out of rehab is
Mm-hmm.
the first week that I started running airsoft games because COVID was big. The guy who's running games didn't start running it, really anymore. And I started running games, and I was still going through withdrawals through Xanax, Percocets, very difficult things in my life, and I had
Holy
to run
shit,
games.
yeah.
At one point, I was the only field that was open in California, and I had 200 guys that depended on me to run games every week. I had 200 guys with just me at a private property where I couldn't build cover, where everybody's yelling at me to build cover, going through all types of mental health stuff. But I was so grateful because that was the first time in my life where people ever looked at me like, dude, we need you to do this. And I was like, I could actually do this. I can't do it very well. I don't think I'm better than anybody at running games. If you guys see Mike Gonzalez, you see the John Liz and the Josh Warrens and the Jet the Desert Foxes of the world. I can only wish to be them, but I try and I give a fuck, and that's why my guys roll with me. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna do what I can.
That's amazing, dude. Yeah, my dad was addicted to pills for quite a few years before he passed away, and it
Sorry
was
about that.
it was really struggle. He passed away totally separate incident, but and he was already I think he was 8 years sober um, before he died, and but yeah, he was on same thing. He actually started when he was like in the 70s. He injured his back in a factory, and then they
That's how it
did
started.
surgery, back surgery.
Yeah.
uh, Back then it was like his whole back they opened up, like 3 times because they didn't know what they were doing in the 70s, with discs and all that. So anyway, they put him on morphine. So this is back in the morphine days. They would just inject him with morphine. They didn't even know, like, oh yeah, addiction. What is that? Like they just give you as much as you want,
Here's some
and
drugs. Yeah.
for real. So he came out of that and was on Percocet, Darvocet, same thing, Darvon, and then and that carried on for quite a few years. And he was functioning, he was fine. Just every once in a while was like he OD'd twice within, probably a 5 to 7 year span. So it was, that part was difficult. It was, hard on my mom for sure. And so when he got sober, it was great. But, that's, those kind of things, coming out of that, can be very difficult if you don't have a support team or a support structure, and if you really don't want to, you know what I mean? Like deep down, you really don't want to give it up, like you're not ready. Then it can be very, very difficult for sure. So, how did you? Were you addicted for a long time, like as a teenager, and
Very long,
then really?
very long time. And at one point I was engaged. Um, very, very suicidal. And problem being now with all these people calling me and me calling all these people is back then I would call people and they wouldn't answer. You know what I mean? And basically, the only reason why I got through it is because of my dad. Because when they came out with these little blue Xanax pills, and it was all fentanyl. I took one. I was in a coma for 5 days. I wasn't even supposed to wake up. And I woke up. My dad
Holy
sent me to a rehab
shit!
facility. I didn't know my own name for a week. They'd be like, "Hey, Storm," and I would like look outside the window. Shit you not. And I'd be like, "Dude, it's a clear sky. Like you guys are on drugs." I thought my name was like Chris or Daniel, so I joke about that all the time now. How about that's
Oh
my
my
name?
god!
And I came out of
Yeah,
rehab,
yeah.
and I was just like, I need to do something. Because in rehab, I had a friend. His name was Frags. He was 19 years old. He owned a barber shop. He was a really, really good dude, really great kid. He always told me, Storm, you need to boss up, and that's going to be something that's going to be on my merch one day. He said, you need to boss up, and we're going to do it together. We got out of rehab. He wanted to hang out the first week we got out. While I was going through withdrawals, so I had paranoia, and I flaked on him. 3 days later, he died, and I wasn't able to call Frags.
Oh,
To this day, I can't call him. So like if you go on like my private page on Facebook where I talk to my community about all the stuff going on, inviting them to events, once every couple of weeks I'll talk about mental health. Pairing with Mad Gorilla for that charity last week. If you follow Mad Gorilla on Instagram, his whole thing on his Instagram is about mental health, and that's why me and him are so close because he doesn't like holidays, as much. So like, and that's totally his thing. You can talk to him about that when you have him on the podcast. But he wanted to give kids a Christmas, and that's why we did that because he wanted to be there and see kids smile because a lot of people aren't able to have that. So it's just I don't know.
Dude, that's wild. Yeah.
I don't know. I went on a tangent
Yeah.
there. Sorry.
That's not a tangent at all, man. It's totally relevant. And, I mean, these are, like, I don't have a format on these. These are, whatever is part of somebody's journey to where they're at now, being as passionate as they are about airsoft. Not, we don't all get to airsoft in the same way. It might be very similar. It might be like, oh, how'd you start airsoft? Oh, yeah, a friend told me about it. And I went with them, and then, oh, yeah, no, I like it. That might be, some commonality with people I talk with, but we are a very, very diverse group that, uh, have outside lives outside of airsoft and very unique stories on how we got here.
Yeah.
And so the reason, and what I'm hearing is the reason you're so passionate about it is because of how you got into it. You know what I mean? Like it really, and that's, I can relate because that's how I got into it. Coming out of being paralyzed, this is, these are the people that I found to connect with that literally brought me out of a dark time in my life, mentally and emotionally. So, obviously my family, my wife and my kids and my mom and all my family. But having something like this where I was getting comments and I was able to interact with people all the time from here because I couldn't leave the house when I was, able to walk again. So I have a very, very deep connection to this community, even though I've never played airsoft, and that's why I love what I'm doing. It's emotional connection that really can't be taken away. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it sounds like that's what you have. But yeah, you don't have to apologize. Like I said, I'm not. I don't have a format. I love to hear people's stories and backgrounds on how they got into it, and a lot of times that is emotional. So that that's okay. That's good. Those are the best ones, honestly, that go on to create a huge team and community of people that like a following, really, that people look up to you, man. That, and coming from where you came from, where you kind of were the one that I guess depended on other people, right?
Yeah.
uh, like, oh, you needed help, you needed help, you needed help. That's how my dad was. I was like that for a little while, and it's, and when you're on the other end of that, and now people rely on you, and you're there for them.
Yeah.
It's a totally different feeling. It gives you, some purpose in life for sure.
Yeah. I wake up every day really grateful for sure. I'm not even religious in any way, but I'm for sure like, thank you, whoever's listening.
Dude, same here. Exactly same feeling. And I feel like, I see a lot of these posts about, mental health. We're talking about that. And, so, and I understand people, there's obvious struggles with certain things like that. Something I learned, and this doesn't have to be advice for anybody, but I'm going to tell you what I learned. One thing that a huge obstacle for me was self pity. Self pity, you cannot be grateful for things in your life and, be feeling sorry for yourself. It doesn't work that way. Like
Yeah.
when you're feeling sorry for yourself, you're not really grateful for shit. You know what I mean? Because you're so focused on poor me. It
Yeah.
is like, you can't really see anything else. So I was like that for quite a while, and once I got over the self pity, I think that was probably the biggest obstacle for myself, bar none. It was once I completely let that go,
Yeah.
it was I was liberated. It was totally liberating, and I was able to feel grateful for so much shit in my life uh, that I am now, and that's how I wake up. That's how I wake up. So now sometimes I wake up a little slow, until I have my coffee, but I'm still grateful. So
No, and every day I try to wake up and I try to be a better guy. It's not easy for even going in public. For a guy like me with pink hair and hand tattoos, I know exactly what I look like. Kids walking up to me, "You're a SoundCloud rapper, right?" I'm like, "Yes, I am." Kids are coming in my shop. I've always had to live in the shadow. I've always been Pops' son because we've helped run the Lion Claw events and stuff like that. Or, oh, you're Storm? Dude, I've seen all your videos, Storm Airsoft. I'm like, no, wrong guy. But I'm sure he's a great guy. I'm sure, he's carrying my name well. He's doing his thing. I'm proud of him. So that's why I'm glad. That's why I'm doing Poet. And I've got all my merch dropping tomorrow. My website's going to be dropping, I believe, poetairsoft.com and stuff like that. So just trying to enterprise, man.
nice, dude. Okay. Awesome, man. Well, man, you got a lot going on. You got a lot of good things coming up. I'm really excited for what you're doing. Um, really, really honored to have you, excuse me, have you part of the community, and that I got to start following you recently, and get to know you a little bit because yeah, I love when people have some good shit coming up and good plans and they're passionate about it, and that's it's difficult when you meet somebody that is really kind of like about anything in life.
Yeah.
I love to talk with people that are really passionate about whatever it is, something that they're doing.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate you, bro. I appreciate all your words. I appreciate your time tonight. And again, for everything that you're doing for everybody. Everybody talks great things about what you do. Anything that you need to have me help you grow, any post that you need me to make, any calls you need me to make to any of my quote unquote, my friends or anything like that. Like not
Yeah,
saying I'm big, and I hope nobody listening to this thinks, oh, this guy has an ego. He has friends.
that's not
Like
at all,
anything I could
dude.
do to help you, bro. I'm completely here. I got to fly out and come see you. You definitely have to come down here. We'll get a B&B for you, whatever you need, bro. We'll take care of you, get you some steak and lobster. You're family now, bro. Just know that.
Oh man, I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean that's what I do on here. I make friends, and lifelong friends. So, and then I solidify it with meeting them in person. I met Mr. OT, Hell Yeah Airsoft. I mean, like 8 different people at this last milsim that from all different states
That's
that
awesome.
I've had on the podcast. So I feel like I know them already, and then we meet in person. It's really cool. So I will definitely make a trip out there in Cali and meet you guys. Brotherhood Airsoft. Kyle, who I know Nicole Gaming. A handful of people that you guys all run around there at Giant San Diego, and
Well,
then Europe. What are you up? Is Apple Valley North?
man, wrong generation, bro. Go on Siri.
What is it now?
Type in Apple Valley. It's somewhere that way. It's somewhere that way. No, but here's the thing. Here's what we're gonna do. This is a 6 month to a year plan. We're gonna get you to Cali. We're gonna run a giant milsim. It's gonna be a charity event. We're gonna get you there. We're gonna do a live podcast there, doing something. We're gonna get Nicole there. We're gonna get all the guys, and we're gonna do a big thing for the community. We're gonna figure it
Oh
out. Just you wait.
shit.
I'm gonna figure it out.
That would be awesome, man. I've talked to like 10 people out in Cali now that you're on. So, hell
Heck,
yeah. Okay. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you. Where can people find you?
Instagram, Storm the Poet, TikTok. Don't even go on there. I can't get videos posted. It's terrible. Just
No.
hit me on Instagram, or you know what? YouTube, Poet Airsoft. Okay. Stay tuned for tomorrow. I believe my website will be dropping, poetairsoft.com. If anybody has any questions about anything in the sport of airsoft, if they hear this, if they need a friend, if they need anybody who needs anything, I am here for you. I've been in the sport for a very long time, and I am not here to judge you. Trust me, I get judged all the time. That's not my goal. Much love as always, bro. Again, let me know if you need anything, and you guys have a great night, bro.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you, brother.